The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Exodus 15, verse 3. What is Tae Kwon Do? Tae Kwon Do may be loosely translated as the art of the foot and fist, or the art of kicking and punching. It combines combat techniques, self-defense, sport, and exercise. In 1989, Tae Kwon Do is the world's most popular martial art in terms of number of practitioners. Over 20 million people in 140 countries. 40% of participants are children between the ages of 7 and 14. Kootenai Christian Martial Arts in Nelson, British Columbia has approximately 150 students participating monthly. Almost 500 people per month are exposed to the gospel through this ministry. This ministry targets youth and families. This is important as youth are especially at risk for negative, destructive behavior. Every year in Canada, 294 children or teens commit suicide. Canadian Aboriginal youth are 5 to 6 times more likely to commit suicide. 2,500 children are arrested for violent crime. Violent crime for youth has increased 41% since 1991. Canada has 434 youth gangs with roughly 7,000 members nationally. Saskatchewan has 28 youth gangs and 1,315 members. The largest proportion of youth gang members are African Canadian, 25%, followed by First Nations, 21%, and Caucasian, 18%. Police agencies and Aboriginal organizations indicate that there is a growing percentage of female gang membership in Western Canadian provinces, including British Columbia, 12%, Manitoba, 10%, and Saskatchewan, 9%. 18,000 children are arrested for drugs. 1/10 of youth crime is committed on school property. This is excluding traffic and drug violations. It is painfully clear that youth need more than what they are getting at home, at school, or even at times at church. They need involvement, a safe place, mentorship, and physical activity. A Christian perspective on Tae Kwon Do. As Tae Kwon Do was initially developed in an Eastern non-Christian culture, there can and has been a tendency for the church to deny its legitimacy in the Christian worldview. We should not reject simply because it originated from the East. Wedding rings, a former symbol of enslavement. Astronomy, originated from astrology and condemned by God. Turn the other cheek. What does the Bible teach about self-defense? Many Christians believe that any harm of men is against the laws of God. Simply, they believe any self-defense is wrong. Christians are taught to turn the other cheek. Matthew 5, 38 through 48. They are not taught about the context and the culture that this was taught in. Jews considered it an insult to be hit in the face. The lesson then is that we should not strike out when insulted or slandered. Insults do not threaten our sense of safety and well-being. The Bible is full of examples of using self-defense, from the Lord of hosts in Exodus to the judges being raised such as Samson, Deborah, Gideon, and others to conduct war to protect Israel. It is significant to note that none of the New Testament writers, or even Jesus, condemned the roles that the judges played in Israel's history. Jesus did not tell the Roman centurion to resign his commission. John 15, verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. The late Francis Schaeffer put it this way: the Bible is clear here. I am to love my neighbor as myself in the manner needed, in a practical way, in the midst of the fallen world, at my particular point of history. This is why I am not a pacifist. Pacifism in this poor world in which we live, this lost world, means that we desert the people who need our greatest help. What if you come upon a big burly man beating a tiny tot to death and plead with him to stop? Suppose he refuses. What does love mean now? Love means that I stop him in any way I can, including hitting him. To me, this is not only necessary for humanitarian reasons, it is loyalty to Christ's commands concerning Christian love in a fallen world. What about the little girl? If I desert her to the bully, I have deserted the true meaning of Christian love, responsibility to my neighbor. J.P. Moreland and Norman Geisler likewise say that to permit murder when one could have prevented it is morally wrong. To allow a rape when one could have hindered it is an evil. To watch an act of cruelty to children without trying to intervene is morally inexcusable. In fact, not resisting evil is an evil of omission, and an evil of omission can be just as evil as an evil commission. Any man who refuses to protect his wife and children against a violent intruder fails them morally.